Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. One of the things that also didn't say irked me in this episode is the way that people are kind of judging and trying to manage Molly's grief. Okay? This has been a pattern with TJ even before this episode, going all the way back to when he thought about the surrogacy. I understand that, as a man, you want to sit there and try to comfort your girlfriend and be there for her. But he's always had this way of trying to manage her feelings and her emotions. And in this episode, he wants to talk about funeral arrangements and names and stuff like that. And she's like, yeah, I gotta go to work. I gotta get some work done. Because she wants to sit there and try to avoid thinking about this whole thing. So, he's like, I want you to be here. I need you, this, that, and the third. And she's like, I can't do this right now. So she's walking out the door. Jordan comes in and she says very little and then she leaves. And Jordan's just like, what in the hell is going on? And, TJ's like, she's not really dealing with her grief at all. That's for her to do and her to decide on when she wants to deal with it. It's not on TJ. It's not on Jordan. Because Jordan said something, she said something slick that came out her mouth, which, to be honest, I didn't appreciate. And I get it. This situation sucks, to put it mildly. Right? And no one's going to handle the situation perfectly. So I'm not trying to come too harsh on Jordan. But when she says something along the lines of, well, Molly isn't handling the situation at all or something like that, I'm just like, and who are you to sit there and tell her how to handle her grief? Listen, I get it, TJ's in pain. You want to sit there and do everything you can. You feel like she's not helping, right? But you ain't her, okay? Your feelings ain't her feelings. So how about you do what you do and you let her do what she does, how she does it, the time frame it takes to do it, and let that be that. Because I felt like that was completely out of pocket. There's a point where TJ's talking about Molly and everything, and Curtis, I didn't say Curtis, right? Curtis is sitting there saying everyone handles grief differently in their own way. And for Molly, it's working. Now, is that the best way to sit there and handle grief? I don't know. I'm not a doctor. But that is her way. Now, Stella's there. Everyone's there. Everyone is there to sit there and support him. But eventually, Stella, after being there for us, like, you know what? We're going to have to sit there and let him just kind of just read this out right now. We did what we can. He knows that we're there. And so she felt like she did her job and the family did their job. So they leave. And TJ has probably among the worst crime scenes that I've seen in a very long time. Now, while that's going on, eventually, Dex gets out of bed because I guess Jocelyn can only avoid reality for so long. By the way, she never actually said if she contacted Carly about what happened at the hotel. But after eventually they talk and they get out of bed, Dex is there for Molly for some sort of procedure that she said that he needed to be there. And pretty much what she does is she reads out everything that wound up happening in that child. And she's like, no, and Ava's like, no, stop it, stop. No, I was like, no. You're going to listen to everything that wound up happening. You're going to listen to every single goddamn gory detail that wound up happening to that child. Okay? Because you are partly responsible for that. Now she's sitting there saying, I didn't do it, I didn't cause it, it was your sister, what was she doing there? Which is a valid response. What was she doing there? She remains innocent. She remains to say that she's innocent. When Trina comes there, she feels guilty, which I'm just like, boo, do not feel guilty for telling the truth. Okay? Just don't. Um, Now, Ava's like, I didn't do it. I didn't push her. And, Trina has a comment like, are you sure? Are you sure you didn't do it? You know? But she swears up and down that she didn't do it. So they talk for a little bit, and Ava and Trina leaves. And after Portia gives Liz a compliment for stuff that we didn't see, and we just got to assume that it's all true, they get to talking. And, they talk about Christina and the baby and the loss of the baby and everything. And she said that she felt guilty for, pretty much telling the truth. And long story short, Portia's like, you mean for pushing Christina? And she's like, well, the cops must have had something to sit there and hold her. But I'm like, oh, no, the cops must have believed that she was guilty, but belief is not evidence. Now, she's on the side to sit there and say, well, we don't know, and, most likely she wound up doing it. And I remember in the beginning, I had issues with Portia for coming at Ava a certain way just because she spent time with Trina. But Trina's on the belief that, hey, listen, yeah, she seems like she's kind of off, but she's been in jail, so but for right now, she's standing with her, and she's like, I saw another side to her. She's always helped me out and stuff, so she is loyal to Ava for now. So for all the people saying, oh, she snitched, I don't think that people understand the difference of what snitching is and what telling the truth is. What Dex did when he ran into that office like a 12-year-old little schoolgirl, tattletaling on Sonny, that's snitching. What Trina did was she just told the truth. So Sonny's there talking about his attempted blank that I can't say because of YouTube with Jason and how Morgan was there to sit there and stop him. I think Kevin was out there before or after. But they talk about that for a little bit. They talk about a lot of things, but what I don't really hear is you sitting there apologizing for the way that you treated Jason. You didn't once apologize for you just being a complete and utter jackass to Jason. Kevin does come over there, and Kevin does, talk about his medication and him being back on the medication and stuff. 1 second, let me see something. So yeah, he tested some blood. He tested Sonny's blood and was like, yeah, there's no lithium in your system. There's nothing in your system. And later on, there's a point where Donna takes some of Sonny's medication. How she got access to that? But, eventually she's fine or whatever. Jocelyn is there, Jason, Carly. And they pretty much sit there and say that there was nothing in those pills. It was nothing but placebos. Eventually they're going to get to that point when they realize, Ava was there and his mood has been off and stuff like that. So, like, who could have been tampering with his medication? Now, right off the bat, he's going to sit there and blame Ava. And that's only half of the truth. Because while Ava didn't know about what was going on, didn't say anything, and told the doctor to completely cut him off, his medication was being tampered with for a while because of Valentine. I wonder if he's actually going to ever zero in on Valentine for being the initial culprit, Kevin does come over to Ava's to sit there and check on her. And Ava's like, I need you to be a character witness because, Sonny he's off his rocker or whatever, and he's losing it, and he's volatile, and this, that, and the third. And Kevin was like, Sonny's going to be all right. You know, I think at one point he might have slipped and said too much, but he was like, you know, he's back on his medication, and that kind of worried Ava. You saw on her face like, oh, that ain't good. Um, what else wound up happening? Carly talked to Jocelyn, and it was probably the most pointless conversation in this whole episode. They just talk about Jocelyn and her feelings towards Dex and being safe and whatever else. Um, Congratulates her on doing a good job as far as being a, you know, um, lifeguard. Totally did not have the conversation of, so Josh, you know, when that whole thing went down, Christina and stuff, and you know, you were on your game and everything like that. How come you didn't bother to tell Mom Dukes about, you know, window and pregnant woman falling out of it? How come you didn't? How come you didn't do that? Because I felt like that would have been an important part of this conversation. Um, but yeah, that didn't happen. I also forgot to mention when the family was there, TJ did once again. He said something along the lines of, you know, pretty much this being Christina's fault because she shouldn't have been there. And this whole time I'm sitting there thinking that Sonny is our biggest threat when it comes towards our family. And turns out it was Christina. Now that's not what he's said verbatim, but that was the general gist of the sentence. Also, while you know TJ's doing such a bad job as far as this crime scene is going, Molly eventually she comes back, and I don't know if she heard TJ crying or anything like that, but it looked like she didn't even want to go home. She didn't want to go home. She didn't want to sit there and either deal with TJ situation or whatever. So I'm assuming that she probably either went to Alexis's place or she went to Sam's place. And I know people is going to be divided on what she should be doing and how she should be sitting there and handling it. Some people will sit there and say, well, she needs to be there for TJ. Um, that they should be grieving together, um, and all that sort of stuff. And I can't sit there and say that they're entirely wrong, but I do understand that grief is not exactly a straight and narrow road. There's no timetable, and you know, you grieve however you feel works for you, regardless of popular opinion of what other people sit there and think. Anyway, I feel like that's the gist of the episode. I can't think of anything else, but I always sit there and say, come to the live stream tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We'll sit there and talk about all the shows, like the two shows behind me, Young and the Restless, Born and Beautiful, General Hospital, and Days of Our Lives. And with that being said, I'm going to go. I'll see you in the next video.